one-way fighting.
Hello, you're through to One Way Fighting, and this special podcast, we've got my man, Padman Steve Bates, on the show. We're going to pick his brains about a little bit of Padwork. We're going to pick his brains on the sports in general. And here's the man himself. Steve, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, who you've worked with?
Hi, Neil. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I work with from the bottom up, well, not bottom up, fitness people, beginners in boxing, amateur, one or two pros now and again, kickboxers, MMA, amateurs, one or two pros, rugby players, and a couple of actors, and a bit of everything else what comes in, really.
So I've got to ask you, because I've been watching your stuff online. Make sure at the bottom we'll put all his Instagram links and stuff like that down for you in his Facebook page. So you did like a one-off promotional, didn't you, with Lee the Butcher Chadwick, who, if you don't know, is off Cage Warriors, Bellator, etc. How hard does he hit?
He does it hard, and he's fast as well.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, the way he's built, you expect him to be quite slow, because he's quite muscular, but he's quick. Yeah, he's a gent as well. He's a top guy, nice fella.
I spoke to him a few times, like not that he'll probably remember me, like, but I remember him. I seen him fight, and as quick as he went in the ring, he was back out. He's an absolute animal machine. But so you've got your videos up online. I was checking them out up on Facebook today, and what I liked when I saw, I've got like pet peeves when I see these. I mean, you get your YouTubers and stuff like that, and then you get people who've been in the gym once or twice and they put their videos up hitting pads, trying to look all smart. One of my pet peeves when I see them, which I didn't see in yours, which made me happy, was you see people, they'll hit standard stuff like your 1, 2, 3, 2, and then they'll finish static. They're not resetting in any way. When I used to train, one of the first things they used to say to us was, if you're going to finish on a 2, rather than just bring your glove back and just settle on that, you should always finish with a hook, a roll, or a jab, just to come off, because you're always ending in a reset position. I mean, what sort of things do you see online that just sort of like that irritates me? Because people who don't know, they'd watch it and they'd be like, you know, that's you hit the pads hard. But what irritates you like that?
The first bit is the reason why I normally do it is every action has a reaction. So when I'm teaching anyone, I always say, what you want to remember is when you're hit someone, the minute you step off, expect a reaction. So I normally try and drill in like a lean back or a little rolls. I try and put that in a combination or something like that, like you were saying. To pet peeves, to be honest, my main pet peeve is when people post a video and then slag off someone else. If you know what I mean, it's like you try and knock someone else to make themselves look good, but with doing that, they bring all of their attention on themselves then, and everyone's like scrutinizing everything they do, because if you're not perfect, you know, everyone's going to get onto you, aren't they? But I'd probably say the Mayweather stuff. Yeah, I'd say the Mayweather stuff, but the big, massive, long combination, where it's one combination, but just looped round. I'd say that's the only thing that kind of pees me off, but that's only because I can see it. But if you're not looking for it or know the system properly, it'll look fancy and look good, but it's just a big choreographed one combo.
That's where you're rolling with that 3-2, and then you're just throwing in the combinations as called or as flow.
Yeah. The 2-3-2 is just it's a simple combination. It's like links between each transition, whether it be an offensive or defensive combination. Whereas the proper system, would be you'd have like a 5 to 7 move combination, and then that's like your safety net, and then you never break that combination, and before it reaches that end combination, you'd say the name of the next combination. So the boxer or the fighter doesn't know what you're going to say, so they have to react to it. The only problem with that, it's a good warm-up and warm-down drill. There's no power, it's just a little taps, and it's half reach as well. So, you know, it's not full straight, it's just a little, you know, it's just half reps basically. But as long as the hand position's in the right position, so if it's an uppercut, the hand's got to be like that. It can't be lazy with the hands. But yeah, that's how the system's meant to be. But that's only like a little pet peeve, but each to their own.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually watching there where you're talking about the uppercuts. You had some Thai fighter in, and it's a bit of me, because my game always, I mean, I'm not as fast as it could be in terms of some of my punches, so I like to cut the ring off and push people into a corner. And I seen you throwing lead uppercut, taking a little step and a roll out, and then coming in with the back uppercut, the 5 and the 6, and that
yeah, like a B step.
Yeah.
Like a Lomachenko type thing,
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah. I mean, that for me, that's the perfect Padman that I want to go in with and, you know, sort of train with. Many a drunk conversation in the pub with people, if they start talking to you about fighting and that, and they go on about it, they always try and push you to demonstrate, and then that's their pad work when you get them in the gym. And it's just like, but mate, nice and smooth and flowing, and it looked like to me someone I'd be comfortable in there with and train with. What do you think then, when you're talking about the 3-2s and that, in terms of the style of it? So you'll get MMA athletes in doing it with you, and for me that sort of Philly shell style sort of comes naturally with that sort of system. Do you ever have problems with them? Because a lot of them have square stances, you know, with the tie and the wrestling and whatnot. Yeah,
well, what I tend to do is, because I've done a little bit of everything, I never correct stance, I never change it. I'm very aware of different. I've done a bit of Thai boxing. I've done a bit of grappling. So I'm used to certain things, like MMA guys, they don't turn the lead foot on the hooks, because obviously defensively for grapplers, against grapplers, it's not good, because as soon as they're turning, they're not square on, so it's harder for the sprawl. So they normally stay a little bit flat-footed. So yeah, I like you said, I'll just kind of keep everyone as they are, and just like you said, just try and keep them as they are, and go from there. Really, I don't really try and fix them. I just try and enhance the speed, really, more than anything. That's my. I see myself as like a bit of a tune-up. So they train at different gyms, and then they come to me for like a little tune-up, and all I do is just try and make them quicker. I don't try and change too much what the coaches have been doing with them. I just try and just little tiny tweaks to enhance it. But yeah, with like you said, with the different stances, it's, you know, I leave them to it. That's what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, you know, because I've been to so many different gyms, and you'll have people specialize, and you know, you'll go to one sort of Thai-based gym, and they'll be like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, and irrelevant of what your background is, they do push it in to the type of pad work and the type of training that they do. This is what we do here, that's what you need to do. And I've never had that. I've never had someone just say, look, this is your, you know, sort of stance, this is what you do, and look into that whole sort of thing. I mean, I'll go train MMA and then go to the boxing gym. I remember one guy saying to me, you know, my hands go out quite wide when I used to train MMA. Apart from the fact wrestling and, you know, your distance management's a bit different from boxing.
Yes.
constantly just punishing me with the pads, just hitting me straight down the middle, because get your elbows in, you're not that big. Frank Bruno could do it, you can do it. It's interesting that you say that, because I've had loads of problems with, you know, having X amount of time experience, and it can deflate confidence, that.
Yeah.
Because
it would, yeah.
Doing it right,
yeah.
and then someone telling you not, that deflates your confidence a bit, doesn't it?
Yes, it would, yeah. See, like I said to you, how I see myself is like like I said, like a tune-up for everyone. So you got all these clubs, you know how clubs and coaches quite precious over the lads. So I try not to, you know,
interfere.
Oh, that's me. I did all that. That's all me that I did that. You know, I just let them come to me. I normally get guys normally the week or 2 weeks before they fight. That's when I normally get people. I either get people come in for 1 or 2, or I'll get people for like end of camp, because the sparring starts to drop off a bit to prevent injury. So I normally like just keep the hands quick, and that's normally when I work with guys, really. Like the lads you just been talking about, the Thai boxer, that's Ash Jones.
Yeah.
So I've worked with him a couple of times. But yeah, that's what I mainly do. Yeah, I try not to, you know, just enhance that always.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, that, mate. Where you sort of say that, I mean, it's hard in the actual real life sometimes. Sorry, my thing's lagging there. When you get fighters dropping out and stuff, and you're getting people coming back in the training for different fights, I've had it before where, personally for me, I've had the fighter drop out, take a week or 2 off, and then you're supposed to be doing that tune-up type of fighting, and you end up laying off the sparring a bit early and stuff like that. I always find that type of tune-up fighting, I've never really done it properly in that sense, and it'd be nice to have that sort of setup personally from my previous experience. Like, so, I mean, for yourself, what's your sort of background in terms of your martial arts or your boxing? Or
well, I've hardly done any boxing. As a teenager, I used to go to a box when I used to live in Bootle.
whereabouts?
Hence the accent. I used to live off Port Road.
Hawthorne Road?
Southport.
Oh, Southport Road. Oh, yeah. Been to a few parties down there, yeah.
I've been, yeah. I DJ'd in there Sully's once. Remember Sullivan's?
Fuck off. You messing?
I'm like a jack of all trades, master and none. I've had to go a few hobbies now. But yeah, I used to live in Bootle, and I used to go to a gym in Seaforth. And I was walking back, and there was a boxing club called the Red Lion Boxing Club, which was
used to box there, Sitsadanki.
Where's I?
Which Sitsadanki?
Next to the bridge.
Yeah, Sid's place up at the above the pub. I used to box there for.
I can't remember his name. All I remember is as you went in, you have to go up the stairs and that.
Yeah.
And so I used to go there and hit the bags and stuff. So I did kickboxing. I did Thai boxing, but I was meant to have my first inter-club fight, but I have Crohn's disease.
All
so,
right.
And I'm 38 now, but from the age of about 22, it's always been a problem with me. I didn't know what it was back then, but so every time I was doing like the Thai box, I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well with Paul Rimmer.
Up in next generation.
Yeah, because at this point in time, I lived in Wallasey, and he had a class running in a club called I think it was called Titans or something like that. It was in the basement, and he was a blue belt back then. And so I used to train with him. So I did Thai boxing, and I just kept getting ill. But I was with Paul on that for about a year, and then I got really sick. And then I came back a couple of years later and did Taekwondo. I did that for over 2 years, and I competed in that, like point stop.
Yeah.
And at that time, that's when I got into the pad work, because the problem with Taekwondo and a lot of traditional martial arts is they have a thing where they have they call it a reaction hand. So when you they'll throw a two, the left hand will be down to the waist. They've got no defense, so every time they throw an attack, they got nothing to protect in the head. So I'll take up some boxing to help with me in the competitions, because I was competing heavyweight, and I only weigh about 84 kilograms. So I was getting all these cave trolls and all that. It's meant to be semi-contact as well. So have you ever done the point stop or anything like that? Semi-contact and heavyweight. It's only semi-contact for about 10 seconds, and then as soon as the first person lands, then everyone's trying to knock each other out normally. So I did the pad work, and then I packed in Taekwondo, because the pad work with the one-to-ones was doing well. This is about 9 years ago. And then I did some voluntary coaching for an amateur boxing club in Birkenhead, Venture Boxing. I was there for about 6 months. And then I did about another year doing one-to-ones and stuff. And then I've had a break, and then I got ill, kept getting ill with my Crohn's. I had a lot of surgery, life-saving surgery. And then about 4 years ago, I decided, because I can't grapple or anything like that anymore, or spar, I decided to get into the one-to-ones properly. And I volunteered at a boxing club in North Wales. I was with them for 18 months whilst doing my one-to-ones. And then I've left that now to just do my one-to-ones when I want to do it, to be honest, because I was getting too busy. I was doing about 18 one-to-ones a week, plus 5 classes and my full-time job. So it was just too much. So at this point now, I'm just ticking along whenever, doing whatever I want, really.
Yeah. How's COVID affected that for you, in terms of, can you do anything, can you, or?
Well, I haven't been doing anything since November. I just enjoyed the break, to be honest. Yeah. I'm normally running here, there, everywhere. So I've just been. I do a little bit of extra. I do a bit of extra work and a bit of acting work. So I've been working on that while the boxing has come to a stop. I've got loads of people booked in and ready for April as soon as we open. I'm fully booked. So I've just been working on that, pal.
Yeah. What agency are you with?
Ooh, here we go. With Mandy. And with Mandy, Key Casting, Wild Style Casting, Casting Collective, Piece of Cake Casting.
You're on a few. See, I signed up for Mandy years back and just never got anything off it. And then before I left for Gran Canaria, I signed up for Star now. Never got nothing while I was in England, and then they were offering me all sorts as soon as I left.
Always the way.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a nightmare. I can't imagine anyone wants to see me on screen, mate. But saying that on YouTube, But wow. What have you been in,
I've been in a movie called Tribal, which was my first one. It's called Tribal Get Out Alive. It's filmed in Liverpool, actually. Liverpool and a bit in Manchester. I did that. I did a thing called Metropolis with Ricky Tomlinson and all that in it.
Yeah.
I've done a thing called Bet Dead Casino, which is getting filmed now. That was my first speaking part, play a gambler, and Rise of the Foot Soldier Origins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look at that. I had Sean Hammer on the other week, and I know he'd done Football Factory 3 or something, or was it? It was one of them. Yeah, he'd done it with a few of the lads from his gym and that. He's got pictures on his Facebook and stuff. I'm one of them. Yeah, I might sound rude saying to you, what have you been in? But when you're out over here, it's your telly, you just never watch it anymore. You've got the sun outside, the 30 odd degrees at Christmas. You sat out in the, you know, having a chat in the garden of a night, like, so I don't think I've watched the film in about 2 years, like, so I'm not sounding rude.
Don't blame it. No, I haven't been anything big. Not, well, football is probably the biggest, isn't it, really? I've got two other things I'm literally waiting to. I normally have like a fade and all that, and my barbers is open again. But I can't shave any of my hair because I've applied for one film. So, funny enough, you're talking about Mandy. I applied for one. They're both based, I can't say what they are, you know what it's like, but they're both in the early 90s, the very early 90s.
Yeah.
Not 19s, 20s, 30s, 40s, let's just say around that time. And they've both said to me about my hair and, you know, not to touch my hair, they're going to cut my hair and stuff like that. So I applied for one, still waiting for them to get back because they put it through to production. So I applied for another one, which is on Mandy, what got recommended to me by them. So I've gone for that and I was successful. I'm actually meant to start filming today, but I haven't had an email yet to say when the official start date is for me. They've got all my measurements for it. And but yeah, so I've just been kind of, like you say, look about the boxing and that, because I got this on at the same time. This is going to take me to May or June, depending on if I get both or just the one. Yeah, so I might have a mustache or I might just shave my whole head. I don't know yet what they're going to do.
Just remember to come back on the podcast when you're rich and famous, mate.
Well, do we?
No, mate, that's boss. That, because the way I look at it is you're just gonna have an iron in every fire. So you've got the pad work going on, you've got the acting going on. You know, what about when you said before you couldn't grapple anymore and that? Have you been doing any grappling competitions in the past?
No, I just see back then. This is like about 2004. Maybe 4 or 5, I can't remember. They used to do a thing called grapple and strike, and that was what I was training towards, which was it was basically no head strikes, obviously amateur, no head strikes, but grappling, kicking, everything. You could do everything except for the head strikes. So I was training towards that. That's why I was doing one-to-ones with Paul, and he said, like, I need to. He's done a little bit of pad work with me, and he said to go towards the Thai boxing as well. But yeah, I never got into. I would have liked to, but I did go back to BJJ doing gi because I did know gi back then. And then as I got me, bad timing, as I bought me gi, and I was on my second class with a guy called Charlie McDonald from Hippo House, Mario Sakata student. That's when I ended up hospitalised because I had loads of abscesses in my bowel. So, and that was the end of that, really.
Is that something that you can treat long term, or you're always going to have the Crohn's? Yeah,
you can't get rid of Crohn's, mate. It's just it's your immune system that just attacks you. So the only way, they've taken bits out of me now. That's it. Now it's normally just. I've had 4 surgeries now. I've got a stoma as well.
Have you?
Yeah, an ileostomy. Yeah, that's that. But you never hear me say. I put it on me Padman stuff or anything like that. I don't really talk about it that much because I want to get me. I want to get everything I get due to my hard work and skill, not like a sympathy thing. You know what I mean? I know it's sad to think like that, but haters are like so. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. I remember my sister's little boy when he was younger. He had an issue with his bowel, and he had to have a stoma in. And it's like a horrifying thing that they leave you to do it yourself, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy, really. Like they were changing his stoma for him at home. And he was only a little boy. It was just after he was born, so he was brand new. And yeah. It's one of them though, mate. It adds to your character though at the end of the day, doesn't it? Because like you say, you've not gone publicising it, or it's only the lab ass that you've brought it up, man. So, you know, fair play to you.
Yeah, there's always someone worse out there, mate. So you can't, if you can moan about it, you're doing all right. That's how I say. That's what I say about it.
No, I appreciate that, mate. There is always someone worse out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I mean, you've got kids and the missus there as well, have you? How has that impacted your family life then in terms of trying to manage it?
To be honest, since I've had my surgery and my stoma, my life's changed, because before this, I was going to the toilet about 15 times a day, about 5 times a night, and I'd be worried about going anywhere. And you know, you're trying to train and go to work and do normal things, but you know, you're getting like anemic and all that. So it was difficult back then. It was quite stressful, but now it's just, you know, it's like a new life. That's the best way to describe it. You can, you know, your girlfriend and your kids, you know, we can all do things together now properly. So it's just life changing. It's all good. That's my drive as well, because you know, it's nearly killed me a couple of times. That's why any opportunity I get, I go for it. You know, it's good. Like I don't. You only live once. We're only here to visit, so that's my mentality.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. I know this is different to your situation, but my sister-in-law is quite young and she's got the 2 boys, and she got terminal breast cancer. And at the same time, I know the situation's obviously different, but what you're saying in terms of the attitude of just appreciating what you've got, she's effectively done more in the last 4 or 5 years just through appreciating life and just getting stuff done. And you know, it changes your life, stuff like that. And you can either let it get on top of you as it's like some sort of disability, or you can, you know, sort out the practicalities of it. Like you say, you've got the stoma in, and then you can move on and just make the best of it, mate. So, you know, you're doing the right thing in that sense.
Cheers, mate. And fair dues to her, yes, got the right mentality for it. Have you ever heard of an MMA fighter called Aaron Abbey?
Aaron Abbey, nah.
He trains with Jason Tan, Liverpool MMA. Yeah, he's one of the gyms I teach at is IPC, which is his gym, and he's got cystic fibrosis. He's had cancer twice now and beat it. Like, but we were chatting once, because obviously he knows about my health conditions and I know about it. We were having a chat once and we were saying about like what we're going through or what we've been through. And Aaron said a great line. He said, "Being healthy is for the weak." And, so I always tell that now to anyone who's ill or anything like that. I always go, being healthy is for the weak.
It is though, isn't it? It's nature's way. The struggle keeps you strong, mate. You know, I mean, that, to be honest with you, you were doing the combat sports, and that is, you're going through a struggle and a grind. It's not something nice until you've done enough of it to know that you can deal with it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and if anything, that helps prepare you for that type of sort of situation, you know.
Yeah, like I said about the taekwondo thing when I was competing, you know, even though what it is, you know, it's just point stop and stuff like that. But you still get nerves, because obviously the difference with that, you don't know who you're getting, and you know you got to go through about 4 or 5 of them normally in a tournament. So my condition would be worse than ever. So by the time I stood on the mat, I was dehydrated. I was just fatigued. I was dead weak. So I was already disadvantaged when I stood on the mat. But like you said, moving on from that, it gives you the right mindset, because you're just like, well, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, and you know what you're saying there about the Intergym. I'd done an Intergym. You laugh at this, and like, you don't know who you're getting, do you? In some of them, like, and I'd gone in, and I'm heavyweight, and this fella in there, he's big fucking dude and that, and there's a guy outside who's twice the fucking size of him, and I've turned up sort of half on my own, like there's hardly anyone with me, and they're all juice heads in this gym, like you can tell straight away. You've walked into like a dodgy situation already. And this guy's outside, and the guy I'm fighting's called Franny. He's going, this guy outside the thing, this big juice head with a neck up to the air. And he's going, Franny, you're fucking dead, Franny. I've got you next. I'm going to fucking kill you and all this. And I'm sitting there thinking, shit, this Franny's fucked if I don't beat him up. So I go in there and like end up walloping this Franny lad. And then I just, as I'm like half celebrating, I look out the ring, and then this little juice head's talking to his mate. He must be asking him what my name is. And then you just need to go, Neil, you're fucking dead. I've got you fucking next. And I'm like, oh, fucking hell. Just like shitting myself for the next 20 minutes. I ended up beating him up. But it was just one of them. I was thinking, poor Franny, he's getting fucked by this guy after this. And then when I beat him, I didn't realise I'm going to have to fight this guy. So I know what you mean about those type of situations when you go into that Intergym and you just get whoever on the day. Shitting myself.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you a funny. I'll tell you a funny story. First competition I did, right? I went to Cardiff from Wales, right? And I thought, because I did a bit of Thai boxing and that kickboxing, and I was in Taekwondo. I thought I'll just enter a tournament straight away. So I entered the national tournament straight away as a low rank in the heavyweight. So I was dead nervous, and my mate in work, like he's ex-army boxer and that. So he's going, Steve, what you're going to have to do? Like, he goes, you got a tattoo on your neck, your scalps, you got a skinhead. He said, most of them guys there, they're just all with the families and that. He said, so what you're going to have to do is just, the first guy you get, just go for him. Like, you know, like you're killing you there to knock everyone out. He said, hopefully that'll scare everyone. He said, you'll beat them mentally. So I was like, all right, so I did it. So as we're standing there, everyone's like bowing. And I'm walking back and forwards, you know, waiting to go. You know, like I haven't even stretched. I'm flicking my arms up, no stretching, because I couldn't kick high or anything. So I didn't want to show everyone that I had bad flexibility. So I'm just keeping it up. And I went for him and I won. So, and I got loads of like what? The guy was trying to run away, and I had my hand on the back of his head, and I'm throwing uppercuts at him. Bear in mind, this is point stop. So he's trying to get away. So I'm getting worn, brawling. Anyway, so I beat him. So as I get off, I'm keeping like a poker face, you know, like I thought, I think that's worked. And after me, there's a guy there who must have been about 6'7", 6'8", and I was thinking, oh, I hope I don't get him. He'll just kill me. Yeah. He went up against this guy from Liverpool who must have been about, I'm 5'11". This other fellow was like about 5'9", 5'10" maybe. And he's against this 6'7". So as I come off, one of the women from my club like come over and goes, Nelsie, I've never seen you like that. I said, did you look scared? So I'm like, yeah. And then all I heard was like a slap. And I turned around, and that 6'7" guy is knocked out. And he's just like a tree falling, just knocked out on his face, fast asleep before he hit the floor. And I thought, oh, crap, I hope I don't get that fella next. So I'll shoot myself then for the rest of the tournament. And luckily enough, his mate broke his arm on the other mat. So he couldn't fight him. He couldn't fight me. So I got like a bye for the next round. Like, but I shit myself when I got him, because I thought, first off, oh, I've got them now. And then as soon as I seen him, that big guy get knocked out, I thought, I hope I don't get that guy. And that was the guy I was meant to fight next. But for 20 minutes, I'm trying to act cool, but I was shitting myself. Yeah. Thinking, oh no, I'm gonna get killed here. This guy's gonna kick me head off my shoulder. Like, but yeah, it was fun.
Twitchy ass time. It's yeah. But the thing was, in that situation, I was thinking, am I even going to get in there with him? Because there was just like about 12 of them, and I just turned up, just like with me mate, like fucking an idiot. So it wasn't like I had any backup, but like, because they were all like a bit like heavy in the crowd. I was just like, oh my God. Like where you've got families in the crowd and that you could go in there. I was just like, shit, I was the one intimidated, like just like proper, I'm in the wrong gym here.
Where about was this, by the way?
That was in up by Blackpool somewhere. I don't know. We made Pakistan, yeah. Fucking, is it Fleetwood or somewhere? But like they were all naughty boys.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, fucking. All I remember is like a blare going in, just like thinking, I was more worried about the guy outside than I was inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's that big.
Yeah.
I haven't really done any. I went through a phase of coaching lads through this semi-unlicensed boxing. But I don't really get involved too much now with any like tournaments or anything like, or shows and that. Well, no one is at the minute, but
Yeah, mate.
yeah,
It's one of them. Like it's good to do, but if you've got work and stuff like that, it's hard to fit round.
yeah,
I think there should be like a level of checking out what some of the people are doing. I've turned up to some of the white collars, and we had one guy, I'm not mentioning any names, but he'd been set up in Derry Matthews' gym, not by Derry, nothing to do with Derry. They were training out of Derry Matthews' gym. And this guy had set him up with his cousin, and this lad's like short and sort of stocky, and the other lad was, same sort of weight, but he was about 6'3". And he just turned up at our gym and said, "Do us a favour, can you get us in and do some training with us, some pad work and that, because really all we've been doing is running and circuits and stuff." This other lad's cousins with a guy who's fought before, and he's doing proper sparring and that. And like I just put him on the pads at start and touched him up with the pads, and you could see straight away he shouldn't be in a fight. And he went in there, and I won't put any details in or anything like that, but it was unfair. I remember saying to him before, like, you shouldn't be in there, just set you up here, you've not had the right training and that. And again, nothing to do with Derry Matthews' gym. These were just, that was just where he was going to train.
Just a location to train rather than part of the team.
But the people running the show should have, at the time, had a look in to see that he was doing the training and that there was some sort of support structure there. Because he went in and it ended within about 20, 30 seconds. And I ended up cornering him and thinking to myself, I'm doing this as a favour because this kid's had no real training to run up. He's come there like less than a week before the fight, so there was nothing I could do with him to try and get him up to speed. And to be fair to him, he showed balls by getting in there because he knew himself, but he was like, no, it's a charity event and, I'll go through and do it. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. So he had a pair of balls on him, but the structure in place there wasn't the right type of structure for him to, even have a chance of success.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to watch, isn't it? Because it's just like, that could be his step into boxing, his introduction into boxing, and he's getting thrown to the wolves, and he's probably never going to do it again after that.
Yeah, I mean, I always used to like the white collar, but after that experience, like, I was a bit,
Yeah, I've had something similar. I was training a lad. He's never fought before. So he's working with me. He's going through is it like an 8-week camp they're doing? Some of them, I won't say the brand, but he did 8 weeks, and so he was doing like one session a week with me, or two, I can't remember. But I went the night he was fighting, and he was dead nervous as they are, and the lad who he's fighting was next to him, and he was dead cocky and just like not even phased. So that's like a big warning sign, big flag, red flag for me. Like, so I'm thinking, it looked like he's done this before. So normally, like with the white collar, well, with most guys actually, but normally like 4 fights before, they normally go in the back, don't they? Start getting warmed up and stuff. This guy didn't even go in the back till the fight before his started. Where my guy had already gone, so I was thinking, that's something not right here. So when he fought, my guy was pretty bloody because it all like he could slip and stuff like that. But his fitness got the better of him, so he lost basically. He lost on decision, but his fitness killed him off in the end. And this guy found out he was 11-0 in kickboxing.
Yeah,
but like not point stop, but full contact kickboxing. And he said that's not fair. That, and you know what they said? They just said, yeah, but that's kickboxing, not boxing.
So I'll tell you the story. I won't tell you the name of this kid on camera, but I bet you've heard of him. Because he's a big name out in Liverpool for things that you shouldn't do. But he's an ex-pro boxer, and he got an injury. He's a nice guy, actually, like, when you speak to him. But he's been doing the white collars because he basically couldn't get a boxing license anymore because of the injury he had. And they were just letting him do him. And last time I checked, I mean, this is going back 10 years, he'd got about 4 fights, KOs in like the first minute or two. And these kids are going in thinking they're just fighting someone else with zero background and stuff like that. He's an ex-pro boxer. He was just filling people in. And like, I was thinking, this isn't the right structure. There's no one really there. They say it's for charity. They've got the St. John's ambulance outside. And then they're just letting people go in and just do what they want.
Yeah. It's bad, and I've seen all that. Yeah, some of them are, you know, I was with there's an organisation called the UBA, and I was with them for. I've become like a Welsh rep, but I was just a mascot, really. That's all it was. And they were fine. They had the same thing. They'd have to get like journeymen in and stuff like that because they're starting off and that. Well, they're not starting off, but struggling to get local fight. Because around here we have quite. I live in North Wales, by the way, in Buckley, but we have a lot of other promoters around here. So if you got 2 shows on in the same month and you're the 3rd show, it's difficult to get fighters, and they're very like loyal to each one of you with that promoter. So it's hard to get. It's not a big pool of fighters really for that many events. So they normally have to get paid for lads to come in. Normally, but I did that for a bit. Like that was all right. I had 2 lads who got belts. You probably don't know if you've seen them before. A lad called Johnny Bowden. Yeah. He was cruiserweight, and James Sumner. He was super heavyweight. And I've just got made us to be part of their journey. I just said to him, let's go for a title to laugh. I said, get your belt and then get out of there. End of the day, it's not professional, it's not amateur. Just get your belt and get off, and that's what they did. And then that's what I've kind of done. I've stepped away from all that now because it's not my scene. Too much stress.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, look, at this point, because I'm getting a bit of lag on mine, I don't know if you can see it, but
a little bit, yeah.
It is what it is. It's Wi-Fi. Apologies to anyone watching. But at this point, I'll pick your brains. So, Fury or Joshua?
Fury. Well,
your house on it.
The only reason why I say Fury is because his fitness is really good, and Joshua normally his fitness is good. His footwork, he's just. I think he's better than nearly all round. The only thing he's not better on is the power. Joshua's got the power, I'd say. But everything else, I'd say he's a little bit better, especially like his footwork and his fitness. Joshua's improved at his last fight anyway. He looked a whole lot better. And he normally dips in the 5th, 6th round, normally, Joshua.
Yeah.
Because when I've normally bet against him, I've always put money on them round, but I've never won it, so I wouldn't really listen to. I wouldn't take any tips off me, like. But yeah, I quite like Tyson Fury really for that one.
I feel like Tyson. You see a different Tyson Fury in most fights, don't you?
He changes quite a bit. Like the Wilder, the first one, and the second one. He had 2 different tactics. It was 2 different camps though as well, wasn't it? He changed trainers as well, so. He
went to Kronk Gym in the second one, didn't he? Yeah.
With Kronk, yeah.
With the old Tommy Haynes gym.
Yeah.
But I feel like he works fighters out. He was the first one really to unpick Klitschko in years and years. It was like 10 years plus. I feel like there's a fight IQ there that Joshua doesn't have. I mean, physical fitness wise, in terms of the power, you're right, yeah, Joshua, but I just don't see it myself. What do you reckon of Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo?
Canelo.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen Saunders wasn't that good, was he? His last fight, from what I remember. I think so. He wasn't that good, was he, on his last one? The one before that was pretty good. He's southpaw, isn't he? So,
yeah, I was going to say, do you not think the southpaw is going to cause some problems?
Well, who's Canelo fought? Who's southpaw? He's fought someone, hasn't he? The last few fights, I can't remember who it was.
I'd have to look it up, mate. I
No,
off the top of my head. I was watching something on those feints he's throwing at the moment, where he's popping the hand out.
And
that uppercut.
He does like a haymaker.
Yeah, I was doing it purely because I'm a bit of a fucking nerd, and I was thinking, do you reckon I could be fast enough to pull that off and not get a fucking hook to the chin? I can't.
Well, you could. You just wrap it, don't you? That's all.
Yeah,
the more natural you can, it takes about 100 times, about 50 times to look fairly natural, and then about 100 times to become, part of the toolkit. Just
get the muscle memory.
Yeah. But it's a good move, though. I've seen it. I think it was on Instagram, literally last week. I seen it, and I was like, fair dude, that's a lovely feint.
Yeah, it's unusual though, isn't it? Because he leaves that chin exposed, like when he throws it out, and that, doesn't it? But he's just so quick.
Yeah. You can't hit him normally anyway when you try and hit him.
No. I can never get over the Amir Khan knockout. It was just so clean and just. I mean, he's not known for his jaw, Khan, is he? But for me,
doing well though, wasn't he? He wasn't doing that bad.
I'd struggle to find a faster boxer, really. His hand speed's unbelievable. I mean, he's up there in the top sort of 5 for me, of recent times in terms of hand speed.
Yeah, he is quick. To be honest, I was always a fan of him. I'm always a fan of speed or unorthodox, like Prince Nazim and stuff like that. I like people who are slightly different, or different attributes like speed or something like that. Someone just that stands out. I love that. I'm drawn to that. It's like everything's black and white except for that person. As soon as I can see it, I'm drawn to that.
Yeah, I'm big on me brawlers, mate. I mean, Tyson. Well, I wouldn't say Tyson was a brawler. He was so technically correct in everything that he did with that peekaboo style. But Roberto Duran used to be a huge fan, mate. I love them aggressive types that go in there and they'll go to the wall with it, you know what I mean? But again, like I say, it's a spectacle when you see your Canelos and that with their technique, mate. It's just just a good watch. But
do you like Linares?
Yeah. I tell you who I've been watching lately, that Teofimo Lopez. I mean, I'd seen maybe 1 or 2 fights prior to the Lomachenko fight, and now really spiked me interest then, and I went back through a back catalogue of Teofimo. Who is it I'm excited about? The other one, the Crawford Errol Spence fight.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to watching that. I mean, they're the big ones for me at the minute.
Yeah. What MMA ones you looking forward to coming up?
Now you're asking, mate. Now you're asking. We'll be in
Holland, isn't it? And Brunson tomorrow or Saturday? Yeah, Saturday tomorrow.
Brunson and Howard, isn't it? Holland. Sorry. I think the Stipe Ngannou one, I don't think that's going to be as exciting as everyone thinks. I think it's going to go the same way. So, is it the Masvidal card that they're going to have Ortega fighting Volkanovski? I think Ortega's going to take that. I'm quite excited to see that, because his stand-up's gone the same way as his ground game now, all the way up. And I feel like...
I just hope he doesn't go the other way. Sometimes you get guys who are awesome on the ground, and then they start getting confident with their hands, and then they become a stand-up fighter.
It's what Ronda Rousey did, wasn't it? Ronda Rousey tried to go with the top kickboxer in Australia. She had a world championship belt, tried to box with her when she's got silver medalist, bronze or silver medalist judo. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
But
I don't get it. Like but it doesn't normally end well, does it? When you do that, sadly.
I think it's tough for the ground game athletes in MMA though, because highlight reel knockouts get watched on YouTube. And she got a taste when she fought that Betty Carrera, and she knocked her. Well, she TKO'd her on the cage, didn't she? And that
was in Brazil, wasn't it?
Yeah, but she must have just had her hype go massive and thought, yeah, I can stand, I can do it. But there's levels, you know what I mean? And while she was the big star, you know, again, there's other ground fighters that you think, like you say, stick with what's best when you're against the top. If you can pull off a stand-up game against someone mid-level, then do it. But don't, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got this Ben Askren fighting this Jake Paul, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like you've just said, you're a ground fighter. I mean, he should be able to beat up a kid like that. What do you think of his footage of his training, Jake Paul's?
With footage, I never trust footage because you're normally in charge of what people see.
Yeah.
So you can either show sloppiness or you can show slickness. You know, you can have it, because I've done it. I've had one of my guys post stuff, you know, looking awful.
That's what I think.
When really he wasn't even like that. Yeah. So I never go off it because that's like one of the tactics I used to do. I used to put crap stuff out or really good stuff out, but normally I put crap stuff out and tell them to put like you've been drinking, and because they're like friends on Facebook, I just keep putting posts like you're getting hammered or I've missed a bit of training this week, and they're like mind games. So I never trust anything I see. But from what I've seen, Ben Askren's not really good, is he, stand-up wise? So
he's not high level for the UFC stand-up or boxing. But there's elements of his stand-up there. He does have head movements, and he's got the natural ability to change levels at will.
Yeah.
He uses a lot of feints to take people down, so he's naturally throwing his hands out there. And you'll know, head, hands, feet is always like the natural adage that you get taught when you first start boxing of any kind. It's you're always going to have two of the three moving to put the information out there to keep them thinking about your game rather than their own. So I feel like that in itself are the fundamentals that are going to be a real challenge for Jake Paul. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think it won't be. I think how many rounds is it?
8, I think.
Well, yeah, 8 rounds. I'd say as long as Ben gets past the first 2, I'd say he's got it. I just think Jake Paul is just gonna try and blast him out in the first round and the second round, and I think after then when he starts to fatigue, because he blasted out the other guy, didn't he, the first round or second round? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think it was the second, but he was some kid who is he basketball or something, or
something like that, wasn't it?
Never had a fight, wasn't doing sparring. I've heard. I mean, it was Miles who got me into this whole topic, lad. I never really watched them, and Ben Askren, to be fair, is an interest to me, but surely a professional fighter with the credentials he's got, a silver medalist and that, he can take some kid who's got 2 fights against a YouTuber and someone who
especially 8 rounds. I weren't sure there's like a 3 rounder or something like that, you see, so that's why, you know, because he looks quite strong, doesn't he, that Jake Paul? But yeah, I'd say Ben should win that then, definitely.
Yeah, and fingers crossed, mate, because it's an absolute nightmare for the sport of MMA. If someone who's beaten the likes of Robbie Lawler and had titles in ONE FC and Bellator, and he gets beat up by some kid who's beat up 2 people you'd never heard of before it.
Yeah.
You know, that's
there was another fight, wasn't there? What was the other fight? The other boxing, and I'm thinking of Holly Machinelli against Artov. That was bare knuckle though, wasn't it?
Is it? Yeah. I didn't know that was going on.
No, that's all the happened. Holly Machinelli against what's his name? Artov. Conor McGregor's training partner.
Artem Lubov.
That's it, yeah. I think they fought like this time, or January or February last year or something like that. But
Did he? I never saw that.
They fought, yeah. I won't tell you the result then.
No, I'm going to watch it after this.
yeah. Bare knuckle boxing, yeah.
I knew Artem was doing bare knuckle. I didn't know he was doing it with Paulie Malignaggi. Can't say his name.
Yeah. Is it Malignaggi?
Yeah.
Sounds better.
Yeah.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah, don't worry about that, mate. I'll leave it in. It's all.
I'm sure they fought each other. Yeah, they did.
I'm gonna watch that now. Surely Paulie wins that.
Well, that's
your face isn't telling me. Go on, I'll watch it.
It's a good fight, like.
Is it? Does Artem look like he can? Because Artem always used to remind me of that sort of Chocolate Del style, 1-2-1-2 going forward.
Yeah.
I mean,
good punches though, and he's got power, like.
God, all right. Well, that's what I'm doing tonight. So, what's your next moves in the future apart from your acting?
Just get back into me once. So I just spoke to you're not on Instagram, are you, Neil?
I've set it up, mate, for this purpose of this, but I've never used it before. No, but I'll be putting your links for your Facebook, your Instagram, and Twitter or whatever below the video for you. And my Instagram will be up as One Way Fighting and as Neil Smith within the sort of next week.
I'll add you on that. Yeah, the only reason why I asked, mate, is because I posted today that I'm going to be training like another actor as well soon. So that's the only thing. Everything's kind of the same, really. Just get back to regulars, really, and a few new ones. That's the only thing, really. Just plod on. I treat my one-to-ones a bit like this podcast. So, I like meeting people from different sports and stuff like that. So it's like it's a one-to-one, boxing, session. But I just have a chat with them and get to know about what they do and how they got into it. So it's basically a podcast with Padwork. It's basically what most of these sessions are like with the professional sports people and that, or the actors. That's what I tend to do. It's a bit of fun then, because it's only a hobby, so it's all fun then.
Mate, yeah, it's like customized, bespoke sort of for them. You get to know them beforehand, you mean, like?
Yeah, I just like we've just met for the first time, but that's it. I have just have a chat with them. So like, even though it's like say like an hour session, but it'd be like an hour and a half or 2 hour session because we're just chatting and stuff like that, get to know them. And that's what I love about it. Like, that's how I got away from the whole corner and stuff like that. And I enjoy this a bit more now. I think I'm going down the more celebrity training route. I think that's what I'm probably aiming to do. Hopefully, well, it's kind of started already.
Yeah. Who's the ideal celebrity for you if you could get one? And keep in mind your missus might watch this.
I don't know, probably like Scott Atkins or something like that. But I know like you go like Jason Statham or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to name like English ones, to be honest, because it's probably a little bit easier.
To
a
be
bit
fair,
more realistic.
What? They're good choices, them. Like Statham apparently has got lethal hands, like apparently he's decent. And Adkins, everyone's seen him, mate, Boykin and all that.
Yeah. I trained Lee Charles, and he's done a few films with Scott, and Scott's like a few videos I've done with Lee on the Padwork. So, and a few people that I've met or chatted to, they've all said he's a dead nice guy. Like, so, I love his movie Avengement.
My missus has watched all his films and that. Like, I always like the choreography that they do in the biker films and stuff like that. It's like they're fast moving, isn't it? It's not like the old 80s ones where they just do the basic fight. It's like the camera revolves and stuff. It's like half Matrixy, half 80s action. I really enjoyed that. Like
Van Damme-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, well, I used to love Van Damme, mate.
Yeah.
You'll laugh at this. Like, this is how sick I am on them types of films. So most people will laugh at this. Do you remember the Highlander?
Yeah.
So my first boys
called Lambert.
Yeah. So I was joking and said when we had my first boy, I went, "Oh, we'll call him the Kurgan because he's going to be a little hard fella." And my missus went, "I like that. Not the Kurgan, but we'll call him Kurgan." So my first boy's Kurgan after the Kurgan, and my second one's Conan. So
well, there you go.
I'm mad on them type of movies and stuff like that. Like, yeah, my childhood lived out on them.
How old's your kids?
Kagan's 4 now. He's just turned 4, and then the youngest is a year and a half. So I still haven't grown up like this time last year. But yeah, they're boss, mate. 2 little boys, and just
I've got boys, yeah. But,
yeah, he started watching The Rock on the YouTube this morning, the wrestling and stuff like that. So they've been practicing headlocks all day, like.
Have you shared any of the videos of your old fight? Can I just ask? So tell us a bit about your fight, your background, and have you had like what 4 fights, 5 fights? Is that correct?
I did a number of intergyms, but I did like the large part of my youth just training and not competing. And then when I ended up doing amateur, I went 0-2. So I had a bit of frustration, like with fights dropping out. I took Rob Beach on my first one, and he, like you said before, with the type, he'd had like 60 boxing fights, and I ended up losing with a head and arm in the second or third. He must have hit me hard because I can't remember now. But I broke my hand in that fight. And then
where was that?
That was in St. Helens. That. But I ended up taking about 6 months out with my broken hand. And then it was about another year and a half, and I had about 2 more fights drop out. And then the fight that I fought, the guy dropped out about three weeks before it. And then I ended up just saying on a message to what I thought was the guy who was cornering me, but it was him and Adam Tay, who runs FCC as well. I said, "I'll fight anyone, fuck it, just get me anyone." I ended up in the same position as I was in the first fight. I ended up getting stopped with a kick to my rib, and he didn't break it. He definitely dislodged it, but it still floats to this day in certain sort of times. Like, so, yeah. But because I didn't think I was getting a fight, like I said, I started going out on the island stuff about 2-3 weeks before it, and then about 7 days after, 7 days to go, I think they took the fight. And that's no excuse. He was a better fighter than me, hands down. Again, Brent Tierney, he went on to be the light heavy and middleweight, I think, champ in FCC. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody on the thing. Again, another top fighter. But I was just eager to fight. But coming off a loss, I should have just been sensible, like. But I was quite confident, like doing little intergyms here, there, and everywhere. There was some like big guys that I beat, but they just weren't technically as good as the 2 that I fought at the amateur.
Who was you training under, by the way?
So I've been around a number of different gyms, but eventually what happened was there was one. I'd got a flat in Crosby, and there was one around the corner, and they had a bit of a split. The 2 guys who owned it. And I was working in the solicitors, so I just sort of said, "Look, you know, if you need money for any like bags or anything, just say." And I ended up doing some of the coaching there because I'd done like sort of training for just so long. And it's Warrior Gym now, and they've moved it out to Oxford Road at the back. You know, if you come off South Road and you go down towards Blundell Sands. So they've got it in like a small gym out there now. It was Clark Champion who I had on the podcast the other day.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's still going. It's still doing all right and that. But, you know, I just, after that second one, I was supposed to fight again. And the only time I've ever dropped out, I got an elbow injury. And I was going to train. I trained through it for about 2 weeks. and I was about 4 weeks in, and I just couldn't extend my arm properly. Like, and I went and seen a physio, and he just basically said to me, "You're looking at like there was like actual like large swelling on my elbow. I've still got it now on my elbow here, on the opposite elbow, like water on the elbow." And it swelled up to the point where I couldn't extend properly, and it was on me right. So my power punch, because I was fighting orthodox, was just out of the equation. So I pulled out of that, and in the end, I just thought, you know what? If I'm still in shape and a fight comes up and gets offered to me, I'll take it. But I just didn't pursue it after that.
Yeah.
I think out of about 7 or 8 fights that I was training for, I fought 2.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
I know
I was
that
working with the solicitors. It was too much to do on top of the job.
Yeah.
So,
well, it doesn't look good, does it? If you got black eyes and stuff like that. That's the problem with having a job and a career.
Coming in after the weekend fight and having a cast on my hand and trying to type on a computer, and that was a bit.
Yeah.
So it one of them, mate. But I never regret any of it, like, because, prior to those 2 fights, I was doing all right. But I think at the end of the day, mate, I'm more of a fan than a fighter. So sometimes you just got to accept your lot, really, haven't you?
That's it. The thing is, what you're doing now in a year's time, could be a massive success, and you wouldn't be doing it if you hadn't stopped that. That's how I look at everything myself. I just think, well, don't regret anything because it's led me to this.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And you know what? The 2 fights are probably out there. I don't know if any of the Intergyms or anything go out on YouTube. I think one might. I'll have a look up and see if I can tag it. It's one of them. They were half decent fights. Like, they weren't like anything spectacular, like highlight reel or nothing, but they were decent enough. Like, you know what I mean? To felt like I've gone in there and I've put my shift in. So yeah. I'm happy enough in that sense. But I just wish at the time maybe I'd have managed it a bit more in terms of maybe, taking the right fight and just waited.
Yeah.
But that amateur scene, mate, it's
bad. Cancellations is bad.
Yeah, it's not even just that. Like you said, you can take something that you think's a good fight, and you don't know what they've done because they're at the amateur point. They could have trained for 20 years, hit the Intergym or whatever, or done all of that, and then they're going in. There were 2 guys, the Pachukis, at the time I was fighting, and the fight before I went in, head kicked some fella, and he was getting gas and air before I walked in the cage in my first fight. And they had a 0-0 record in England, but someone was saying that they were pro fighters out K1 in Poland, and they'd come over. So again, you don't know who you're fighting sometimes. You just But I always looked at it as I don't care who I'm fighting. If I'm going to fight one guy, then I've got to fight the other.
Yeah.
And ego and pride was probably the worst thing you need at that point. You need common sense, mate, and lesson learned.
Yeah. Did you ever fight in Olympia?
No, mate, but I've been to about 1 million fights there, watching.
Isn't that a great? That's probably my favourite venue I've ever gone to.
Yeah, mate, because it's one of them. You go to the Olympia, mate. I went and seen Lee Williams fight there because he's a friend, and he went in, won, come out, sat on the front row with me while he was still in his gear, watching the next fight with his 2 kids next to him and his missus. And for like his family and that, I mean, it's a rough area, but his family and that were there. Everyone was happy. It was all watching it. I love the Olympia. Like, another one, the Barcelona, when they do it on the back of the Barcelona, it's like the old theatre out the back.
I haven't seen that one.
You don't remember the old Barcelona bar in town? By the 051?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
It's Quiggins now.
I used to remember the Baraka bar.
Yeah.
I used to DJ there on a Monday when I was 16.
Did you?
Yeah.
We used to do Sully's every Friday night, and then we go into town to the arena on a Saturday.
Did you? Yeah.
And then follow it up with the Sunrise, the Naughty Boys Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you been DJing?
Well, I tapped in about 2005 or 6 or something like that. Can't remember. I think the last place I DJ was a place in Southport called the Beach Bar, playing Scouse House.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. True love never dies and all that, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, you're a year older than me, so you'll have done all the Paradox or the Beach Bar.
I remember all the Paradox and all that.
Yeah. I still go on YouTube now and type in the Paradox on Radio City and put it on a Friday night when I have a drink and that.
Fair days, yeah. If you go on Spotify, you put like 051 in. There's a playlist on there of old classics. Would you like Paradox classics as well? I know we listen to that.
Yeah, I always used to love Sing a Song of Happiness. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I can't remember the name now. Yeah, good tune now.
Yeah, mate. Well, look, on that little reminisce, we'll end that there. Stevie, being a gentleman, is there anything you want to big up? Anyone you want to big up, or tell us where your gym is and where you are if anyone wants to come and catch up with you?
Okay. Well, the gyms I train at IPC in Wrexham, and Warrior Fitness now is near Port. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, which is Dapper Daniels Barbers, Green Hill Sports. I've got a few here. Nutrition King Supplements, Pure Project Clothing, Kid Vision Cameras, Checkpoint Car Garage. I've got too many. I'm like an F1 car. That'll do.
I'll tell you what, mate, if you want to throw something under or send me a message, I'll add them on the share that we do on the Facebook page and that for you. Guys, sorry about the lag on my end. We've had problems with the Wi-Fi all day. I was hoping it'd be sorted out by tonight. Hopefully you can hear me voice. You don't need to see me face. And he's been an absolute gentleman. It's Steve the Padman. All the links will be below. And thank you for coming on, mate. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, guys.